So, someone made a comment in here, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should make a little video because it was a good one, and they brought some forensics into it. So, actually, yeah, I'll get to the comments afterwards.
Anna, we are in the northeast of Russia, deep inside the Arctic Circle, where outside at the moment it is hot enough to sunbathe. But I'm inside what is called a permafrost cave. Permafrost is the permanently frozen layer of soil that sits beneath a quarter of the northern hemisphere. And as our planet warms, and the Arctic is warming much faster than the rest of the planet, this layer of soil is beginning to thaw. And that means that the billions of tons, hundreds of billions of tons of carbon trapped inside is released. I'll show you what that means. These roots are essentially plants that were frozen in the soil at the time when the mammoths were roaming the grasslands up.
When the mammoths were roaming the grasslands, what happened during the mammoths' time?
Above. But as this stuff thaws, this decomposes and greenhouse gases are emitted into the atmosphere, methane and CO2, and that warms up the planet further. And that is why this permafrost and what happens to it is really just as important in terms of climate change in the Arctic as the melting ice caps and rising sea level.
All this is because of remember, there was a period of time called Snowball Earth. And then things started thawing out, and that's when we had the dinosaurs roaming the Earth and all that, because of the equator. That's where the sun was obviously the strongest, and things were able to be released, and the atmosphere was basically being able to be created. What this actually shows is that the Ice Age came about rapidly. And because when mammoths were rolling around, that was an Ice Age, right? Was that an Ice Age? Apparently so, because the ground is still frozen from that time. And being that things have been warming up, we're still coming out of the Ice Age. People don't realize that. The glaciers are remnants of the Ice Age. And you all realize that permafrost is remnants of the Ice Age. What is, I made a mistake. And invented age, the age we now live in, all fact, blah, blah. I didn't realize it when she was talking about mammoths and the ice. And so, in fact, just like glaciers are the ancestors of the Ice Age. Remember, the Earth went through a time called Snowball Earth. Life thrives in warmer climates. The German floods could be likely to pole shift mixed with moon activity, and Earth goes through changes. And what basically happened here is that carbon, things did not properly decompose, or they went through a delayed decomposition. And this actually goes into my theory of the Tunguska event. Let me see if I can find my friggin'. So that's the only one I found so far.
In June of 1908, an enormous fireball devastated hundreds of square miles in Siberia near the Tunguska River.
That's the theory.
Known as the Tunguska event, the explosion flattened millions of trees and caused seismic anomalies across Eurasia, with an estimated force of anywhere between 3 and 30 megatons of TNT, hundreds of times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The first scientists who traveled to the site of the Tunguska event expected to find evidence of a meteorite, but found nothing. During the past 105 years, speculation about what caused the event has varied wildly. A popular theory was that the explosion was caused by a comet, essentially a ball of muddy ice that would have evaporated on impact.
Yeah, that's the air beast, or air blast. And there's no evidence to suggest that.
Other theories involved a natural H-bomb, antimatter, and even a black hole passing through the Earth. But scientists were recently able to put the mystery to bed and prove that the Tunguska event was indeed caused by a meteorite.
No.
Researchers studied microscopic fragments of decayed vegetation dating back to the time of the event and discovered mineral combinations perfectly consistent with other meteorite impact sites, like the 50,000-year-old meteor crater in Arizona. If only dash cams had been prevalent back in 1908, this would have been a whole lot easier to figure out.
No, it's because of an electrical storm that happened over an area of permafrost that rapidly decayed, which explains the butterfly pattern of the event, because it was a gas blast. The gases from the permafrost were released and created during an electrical storm, and that's why there was multiple points of ignition, and it looks like a butterfly pattern.
So is every story we do an excuse for you to wear a funny hat?
You should know the answer to that by now. Although specifically in this story, it's quite apt because we're doing a myth about sewers.
Sewers?
Well, specifically explosions within sewers.
You mean like from a methane buildup?
Yes, but it's not just about methane explosions. It's about during a methane explosion, do the manhole covers in the street above the sewer get blown high into the air?
Well, that sounds like a classic. It's perfect for us.
I totally agree.
In this drain disaster, supposedly a sewer explosion sends manhole covers sky high. However, with their open-ended system, that wasn't the case, as the explosion took the path of least resistance. So for the next test, the Mythbusters are closing the sewer, and that's not as crazy as it sounds.
There are many places in which a sewer can become a closed system. You can have a large pipe that immediately makes a right-angle turn into small pipe. Gases have a hard time going around corners like that when they're under pressure. You can have a part of the sewer above water with a bunch of the sewer underwater. All of a sudden, that becomes a closed system.
But will a methane explosion in a closed sewer make the difference and send the manhole covers sky high?
In 3, 2, 1, go. Awesome. Go.
Apparently, yes.
All the manhole covers went, and it sounded cool too.
The high-speed referee proves that not only did the lids flip, but they got significant air.
Wow. That is stunning. 1 and 3 are already almost at 24 inches above the pipe.
Number 3 actually made it a little higher, 30 inches, just touched.
Wow. Go. Well, that worked pretty much exactly as we hoped it would. And here's what's going on in there. The reason those manhole covers start to fly before the fire even gets to them is that the fire is an expanding gas, and it is pushing air ahead of it, kind of like a piston. That piston is causing an increase of pressure, which is released by the manhole cover flying. That's what we wanted to see. Go.
There's one more parameter for the guys to test inside their small-scale drain.
I'm making a mess for science. Mom, this is the way it's supposed to look.
That's right, they're adding debris because more junk might lead to a bigger kerthunk. Waiting game.
That sewer's getting pretty full of methane.
It's that familiar Mythbusters waiting game.
That sewer's getting pretty full of methane.
Small scale proved that the perfect stoichiometric ratio sent manhole.
And they might not go over it. I haven't watched this video all the way through, but notice how the debris hasn't really moved or anything like that.
Flying. However, will the full-scale equivalent 100 cubic feet of methane prove just as effective?
Shall we do it?
I think it's time.
All right, call it.
All right. Real-world sewer explosion, best case scenario, sparking in 3, 2, 1.
Wow! Look at that!
That had to be 100 feet.
That was insane! That exceeded my wildest expectations.
That was significant.
Significant is right. The manholes turn missile, rocketing 150 feet and only returning to Earth after a hang time of 6 seconds.
Go take a look. All right.
And closer inspection of their sewer has the guys astonished at the force of the explosion.
Well, there's 2. There's 3, and number 1 seems to have traveled the farthest. That is one hell of a blast.
I think the whole roof of the sewer came up.
Well, as I'm walking on it, I can feel it feels soft. Do you feel that?
That's what I'm saying. All this dirt kind of came up in the air a foot or something. We should check our high speed.
That was awesome.
Yep, and from the safety of solid ground, the high speed shows that the deflagration of the sewer sent earth and manholes flying.
There they go.
Wow! It's perfect.
They look like flying saucers taking off.
Look at number 2 showing itself to the camera. That is insane. That might be one of my favorite high-speed shots we've ever got.
That's gorgeous.
Gorgeous, and also very revealing.
Now, seeing fire coming out of that manhole cover and not the others is telling us that this is not a detonation. If it was a detonation, it'd all be simultaneous. We're not seeing that, so this is a burn.
Yep, but a burn big and fast enough to bring the manhole mayhem to a close.
Just kind of, demonstrate something to you with modern military technology. And see, people have it all wrong. This is freaking pseudoscience right here.
By science at NASA. When the sun rose over Russia's Ural Mountains on Friday, February 15th, many residents of nearby Chelyabinsk already knew that a space rock was coming. Later that day, an asteroid named 2012 DA-14.
They already knew that a space rock was coming? Oh, wait. Oh, this isn't the, Yeah, this isn't the right one, my bad.
итальянских ученых, которые они выдвинули еще в 99 году, когда первый раз приехали туда, что озеро Чека не что иное, как кратер именно от падения Тунгусского метеорита, потому что когда они провели батиметрию, оказалось, что озеро имеет конусообразное дно.
A cone shape. That's almost like a nozzle. That's almost like a nozzle for any aerosol, like a spray bottle, how it makes a cone shape. So it seems like gas pressure was built up and there's this weak spot and it just pushed through.
условия, в которых я росла, то есть тайга, река, то есть, ну, наверное, наложилось. Я себя чувствую на работе в заповеднике как рыба в воде, то есть не пугают там дикие там расстояния, там, что я где-то заблужусь, ну, встречи с медведями, ну.
One tough woman. And what I mean by that funnel thing too is like a geyser, only instead of releasing hydrostatic pressure, it's releasing static gas pressure.
Лес все весь вывалил вот внукам, правнукам. Куда надо ездить? Нахуй.
I'm peering out the window of a Soviet-era helicopter. We're hovering above Lake Cheko, deep in the heart of the Siberian taiga. It's a long way to come for a flyby, but then this is no ordinary lake. 100 years ago this week, a giant explosion lit up the dawn sky in the northern hemisphere. Locals reported columns of fire shooting through the air and light visible as far west as England, 5,700 kilometers away.
And we're supposed to believe a meteorite did that? It sounds more like a gas explosion. And especially because if it was lighting things up in the atmosphere, I mean, that's, geez, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Kind of like, it's a plasma. Lightning is a plasma. And, and that's what, you know, it's able to travel up into the atmosphere and everything like that, just like welding and things of that nature. And especially if a geyser, you know, of gas was spewing, it must have been, you know, almost like a volcanic eruption, only without solid. So you have volcanoes, which is, you know, liquefied, like solid matter. It's heated up. It's solid matter that's heated up. There's also gases and even water and stuff, because so, you know, sublimation, so the water just, you know. Anyways, and if you actually look at this lake that was created, it's like a butterfly. It's like a butterfly because, well, you've got, you know, a cone-shaped object spewing up into the atmosphere, you know, and yeah, there's going to be some leakage, but obviously this area, you know, it's a butterfly or even a dragonfly. I mean, it does look more like a dragonfly because you've got this and then that, and then when it's reflected, so it's almost like, right? But I don't know what I'm talking about.
Up the dawn sky in the northern hemisphere, flying over what's thought to be the epicenter of the blast, 8 kilometers, no ordinary lake. 100 years ago this week, a giant explosion lit up the dawn sky in the northern hemisphere. Locals reported columns of fire shooting through the air and light visible as far west as England, 5,700 kilometers away. Here, we're flying over what's thought to be the epicenter of the blast, 8 kilometers southeast of the lake. The blast knocked down trees in a radial pattern over more than 2,000 square kilometers. Most of the forest has since...
A radial pattern. A radial pattern. I mean, I'm sorry, but, you know, unless something is a perfect shape, I mean, it definitely was an airburst. Actually, before, you know, I conclude this with the military video, let me just show you, like, after this video, I'm going to show you the theory that's the accepted theory.
Covered, but locals still stumble on charred remains of old trees that were flattened in the blast. One of these huts was built in 1927 by the first scientists to investigate the explosion. But
charred remains. Charred remains. Alright? So, I mean, there was a fire. I mean, if it was an airburst, there'd be splinters. You know, if it was able to create... You know, that's the thing, is the damage that is being... the damage that's been witnessed, it does not equal the theory.
1927 by the first scientists to investigate the explosion, but researchers are still struggling to explain what caused it. Most think a meteorite exploded high in the atmosphere, 5 to 10 kilometers above the epicenter. Some researchers believe a fragment of that meteorite survived and created an impact crater that is now Lake Checo. But there's also a new theory. Was the blast caused by a huge spurt of gas ejected from the ground? In the next few days, researchers will return to the area. They're hoping to find new evidence that will finally put the mystery to rest.
And this was actually one of my first theories. Between this and the Sailing Stones, it's when I was like, you know what, let me, you know, try to come, you know, let me theorize. And I came about this, and theory in the process, but it's not accepted for some reason. Is, you know, demonstrated that, well, I'm trying to do is demonstrate that it is exactly what happens. It's the best theory out there. Okay, so this is simulation, and it's like, so basically what they did is they fudged the numbers, you know, because computers not going to lie and stuff, and, you know, it put in their known values and stuff. It basically, scientists using technology, sophisticated technology, to prove their work, but, you know, it's all pseudoscience. I mean, it actually looks like a shape charge. And we're supposed to believe that every single fragment was destroyed. Now it's time to show you some Vietnam technology that proves this theory. Alright, I might be repeating myself here. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I put in daisy coded bomb, and it's showing me some mother of all bombs, father of all bombs. But we'll get to theirs.
Eventually, America developed a fast way to create landing zones for helicopters. These were the daisy cutter bombs. A parachute stabilized these huge bombs as they dropped. Set to go off just above the ground, they blew down the trees and created a landing zone for Hueys to land troops.
Pretty interesting, right? Where's the closed circuit? A fuel air bomb. And it's a fuel air bomb. Father of all bombs. Or MOAB, mother of all bombs, which is massive ordnance of air. Shit. Massive ordnance airburst. My bad. And so the explosion, I mean, if it was more condensed forest and stuff, it would act a little differently. Just like in Vietnam, how it was dropped, the explosion made more contact and was able to clear things and whatnot. So that's what I'm saying. Science is a freaking fraud, and we're coming out of the Ice Age still. Very long video for that, but take care, be safe, be kind, stay strong, love you all.